Hello and welcome to Charch Chat. I'm Paul Charchian from LeagueSafe.com. It's the end of the week, and that means it's time for a sneak attack running back style. Thanks for joining us here at Open Sports. We're going to talk about 3 different running backs that are not normally in your starting lineup. And some of these guys are on the waiver wire that you can pick up, put in your starting lineup this week. Got good matchups or good situations. Let's talk about them. We begin with Chester Taylor going up against Detroit. The thinking here is pretty straightforward. Adrian Peterson, this team could be up by a lot, and Adrian Peterson hits the pines early. And what we've noticed is, even in close games, like the ones the Vikings have had the last couple of weeks, they always play close games, Chester Taylor's numbers have been up. Over the last 2 games, he's had 11 and 14 touches, and he's scored in consecutive games as well. So Chester Taylor increasingly involved in the game. Will almost certainly get a lot of use here. Detroit, as you know, the bottom-ranked run defense. They allow the most points in the NFL, so there's plenty to go around here. While the Vikings did play very poorly against the Lions in the first meeting, I think they play a lot better here with a little chip on their shoulder. So Chester Taylor could certainly make some sense. Vikings could be ahead by a lot regardless if the Williamses play or not. The Vikings could be ahead by a lot, and they could be resting Peterson for a tougher matchup next week against Arizona. Next, Sammy Morris goes up against Seattle, and it took Morris a couple of weeks to get his legs back underneath him, but we've seen his carries and yardage go up in 3 straight weeks, to the point last week where he had double-digit carries. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry, and he scored a touchdown last week, and now this week, Seattle's on the roster. Seattle's allowed rushing touchdowns in 4 straight games. Now, they're easier to beat through the air, but we may find that the passing game just sets up the run game here, and this is a bad defense overall that gives up a lot of points. So Sammy Morris makes a lot of sense, probably on a roster someplace, but if you're ever going to elevate him, this is a fantastic opportunity. Patriots, in my mind, almost sure to score a lot of points in this game, and if anything's inside the 5, he's got a great opportunity. All right, next, J.J. Arrington going up against St. Louis. Now, this one might feel a little bit obvious because it's against St. Louis, but I've got a neat twist for you that I'll throw at you in just a second. First, let's talk about Arrington. Pass catching back. He's been a good change of pace guy for Tim Hightower, and that's been great as well. Now, he's been a tricky fantasy guy in anything other than like maybe a PPR league because, he doesn't usually chip in with enough yards, and the touchdowns are sporadic. And Hightower's going to get the ball at the goal line, certainly not him. But the opportunity is very good here. The Rams rank 30th against the run. They give up the 2nd most points. So we may find that Arrington could hit a long run on one of his change of pace carries. That's possible. But more importantly, and here's where I think it's got a little bit of a tricky insight for us. St. Louis has allowed the most touchdown receptions to running backs in the NFL, 4. Now, whether it's a trend or not, or just fluke, I'm not sure. But there's an opportunity here because he's obviously a pass-catching back, and the Rams seem to be struggling against pass-catching backs. So let's give Arrington a shot. He's somebody who's probably available on your waiver wire. There's a good chance he's available on your waiver wire, and you could give a start to against a lousy Rams defense. All right, so there you go. Chester Taylor, Sammy Morris, J.J. Arrington, 3 guys that could help your squad this week. Best of luck as we head into week 14. If you have any questions for our fantasy department, please email us, fantasy@opensports.com.
So you think you can tackle a pro? There's only one way to find out. Click on fantasy@opensports.com.